So when Jolana was born, she was our third child. So she had a brother, Jason, who was 6.5, and an older sister who was just 2 years old, Janelle. And so we kind of figured that this would be the last birth and that we ought to really appreciate and enjoy it. And the fun part was on the road to a we thought we were going to have a home birth, and we were considering a home birth, and then 7 weeks before her due date, she decided, I guess, that she wanted to come out and meet her family a bit sooner. So I went into labor about 7 weeks ahead of schedule and had to kind of stay off my feet and rest and not let her come until she was more fully developed. And then I just remember when we knew we were going to the hospital, we picked a very small country hospital with a very progressive birthing room so that it would feel just about as normal as home. And when we were on the road, Ron was asking me, "How are you feeling?" Because I was in labor. And I said, "Well, this is probably the last time I'm going to have this experience. I'm just going to enjoy every moment of it. I'm just going to let it go and feel the joy and feel the feelings in all of their entirety, and just appreciate this opportunity." And I know you were really thrilled that I had that attitude.
Well, let's see. Like a lot of men, I can probably say the birth was easy, but Ronnie was really, really good at delivering, and we had practice 2 years before with Janelle and had developed a system using no words during that difficult transition period where I'd just give her a little flick of my thumb on her palm, and that clicked into the hee-hee breathing for the most intense parts of the contractions, and we tried to limit that. And so the birth was relatively easy, but the hard part was when Jolana was born, she immediately had what the doctors called respiratory distress syndrome, and I think the 3 symptoms were lousy color, bluish-gray color. You could hear every breath, and you could see every breath with her stomach rising and falling. And it wasn't a drastic situation where they needed to take her away from us, so they put her on Ronnie's stomach, and we just watched for a while, and then the most miraculous thing happened after about 15 minutes. Something just passed through her, and that color completely changed, and the other symptoms of the respiratory distress syndrome went away as well, and she got this beautiful rosy color. And to this day, I just love to see Jolana wearing anything that has a little rose or orange or reddish in it, because it reminds me of that blissful moment where, wow, okay, it cleared, she's beautiful, she's going to be fine. But then we were convinced by the doctors, just for precaution's sake, to send her back to a larger hospital in Ventura, where they had a intensive neonatal care. Is that what they call it? And well, I'll let you take over from there.
Well, I, being the mother who had just delivered this tiny baby, and having her on my stomach while she was doing this wonderful change of color, had concerns about sending her away without her name. That was a huge, huge thing for me. That the ambulance was waiting right outside our window of the delivery room. They just wanted to put her right into the ambulance and take her in a kind of an emergency situation. And I said, no, we need her name to be on her. And they said, oh, fine, we have it, it's Hertz, baby Hertz. I said, no, it needs to be her first name. It needs to be her middle name and her last name. I can't send her away without her full name. And we named her Jolana, her first name, because it means Joe for one of Ron's lifetime friends. Joseph in Hebrew means to add to or increase. And Lana is Greek for the light. And we wanted her little spirit to add to or increase the light in the world, which I believe she's really done. She's really carrying on her name potential, and her middle name is Lauren, and Lauren was after my sister who passed away as a young baby, and it was a name that was in our family, and it had wonderful memories for us. And I wanted to be sure that her wristband in the neonatal intensive care unit had her entire name, Jolana Lauren Hertz, so that they called her by that, and so that she was fully, completely a part of our family, identified, and that her spirit would embrace her name and carry her through a very hard 6 days and 6 nights where we were apart some of the time.
Yeah, that was not the happy part. She got the standard treatment they used then in the neonatal center, which was the fluorescent lights were on 24 hours a day, and they stuck a tube down her throat and a needle in her forehead, and they didn't want to let her out of there until she could digest a certain number of grams of the fluids they were feeding her, and she was not taking to it. And finally, I think on my prodding, I said, let her try some breast milk, let her try nursing. And it didn't really make sense to me that why the stomach would want to digest food that was just directly ingested without any sucking process. Anyway, so the intuitive idea worked, and she nursed quite well and digested more than her required number of grams and was released. And I wanted to say something too about the adding to the light. I guess there'll be a lot of photographs here at the wedding ceremonies today, but we don't have these among the photographs. Won't be maybe the most remarkable. The first photographs taken of Jolana really show her adding to the light. They look like Kirlian photography. It's on 3 or 4 different photographs, and there's it looks like lightning bolts on the pictures, and they're all radiating right from her, and her aura is so strong that just with ordinary film, the first several pictures of her showed this explosion of light and energy coming from her.
Yeah. And she really, from the time she was born, emanated a joyfulness and a light-hearted spirit. Her Native American name is Light Star. She has always been very loving, very generous and kind, and full of joy and full of sweetness, and very, very much of a flower child.
Yeah, and always with a spiritual nature and an open-minded nature, and reading in school came very easily to her, and it was quite the contrast when I worked with helping with the schoolwork with Jolana versus Janelle. Janelle was Miss Pragmatic and stick to the subject, answer the questions, let's get done with this, Dad, and Jolana was an embracer of any creative digression I could come up with, and always just had this inquisitive, curious, beautiful spirit, and an incredibly kind of wise understanding of things. I think we often said, this is an old soul, this is an old soul.